Thank you. Our next speaker is Mark Intermill. Mark is the Advocacy Director for AARP Nebraska, serving people age 55 and older, another population that will suffer because of the war. Previously, Mark was the Administrator of the Division on Aging for the state of Nebraska. Mark?
Thank you. Actually, we will accept 50-year-olds in AARP too, so we don't want to leave anybody out here. So it's a pleasure to be here this evening. My name is Mark Intermill, and I just want to talk a little bit about how I spend my days over the last few weeks. We didn't think we would be engaged in the issue that we're engaged in right now, and that's working on the federal debt and the budget, the debt ceiling, and things related to the federal budget as they relate to services that are received by older persons. We thought we'd be working on Social Security issues, looking at long-term solvency, and not looking at potential cuts in Social Security. And we are looking at potential cuts in Social Security. As I see it, there are two threats that we have that we're facing for the types of programs that we're talking about tonight. One is that we don't raise the debt ceiling by August 2nd. In that case, we will see severe cuts in all of the programs that we're talking about. We will only have current revenues to operate the federal government. The projection that I've seen says that on August 3rd, the federal government will receive $12 billion in revenue, and it will have about $34 billion of expenses. It won't be able to pay the Social Security checks that are due to go out that day. It won't be able to pay out the poverty support programs. It wouldn't necessarily be able to pay the interest on the debt. It will have to be some of those things that will be covered if we don't raise the debt ceiling. Which leads me to the other threat that we're facing, and that is that what happens if we do raise the debt ceiling, but with a number of the types of proposals that we're seeing floating around the halls of Congress these days. And those could be just as damaging or more damaging on a long-term basis. Actually, probably not more damaging. I think not raising the debt ceiling is devastating. But still, a lot of damage could occur from some of the things that are being discussed. We had a couple of sheets of paper that I had out at the front table. One is blue, and it talks about some of those proposals to cut spending, to set some budget caps in the federal spending. And the one that I think is probably the most concern to us is a proposal that's been introduced by Senator Corker from Tennessee and Senator McCaskill from Missouri. It's a bipartisan proposal. It has a couple of Democratic senators sponsoring it. Called the Commitment to American Prosperity Act, or the CAP Act. They have wonderful names for these things. But what this would do would be to set a limit on a percentage of gross domestic product of what the federal government has spent. McCaskill-Corker gets down to eventually 20.8% of gross domestic product is the limit in 2021. And AARP has commissioned a study of what that would mean for some of the programs that we're interested in. What would happen if we had a 20.8% cap on GDP to Social Security, to Medicare, to Medicaid, to all the other programs that are of interest to us this evening. And what we have found, or what Lewin Group, which is the company that did it, found was that there would be a 5.6% cut in Social Security benefits effective 2013, when this act would take effect, and that would escalate to a 19% cut in Social Security benefits by 2023. The average benefit, Social Security benefit, is around between $1,000 and $1,200 a month. And just for the sake of ease for my arithmetical skills, say $1,000 check, a Social Security check, would suddenly become an $810 Social Security check. We're in contact with a lot of people who are in that situation where they are living on a Social Security check of about $1,000. Spoke to a woman from Omaha not too long ago who's receiving $1,000 a month. She pays her bills every month, and what she says is at the end of the month I have $4 or $5 left. We don't have room in her budget to be able to take that $190 cut in Social Security benefits. We're also looking, if the CAP Act were enacted, at a $391 per year increase in out-of-pocket health care costs for Medicare beneficiaries. And that increases with age. For the 85 and over population, it would be about $480, another $40 a month, in other words, in health care costs, either in increased Part B premiums, deductibles, co-pays. We're seeing that in Medicare and Medicaid, that other payers will have to pick up additional health care costs, which is going to increase health insurance premiums by about $720 per worker per year. And we're seeing the reduction in Medicare and Medicaid will reduce the number of healthcare workers in the United States by 1.8 million, 9.5% of the workforce, because we're not providing the federal support for these types of programs. So how I've been spending my days the last few weeks is traveling across Nebraska and encouraging people to become engaged in this issue. Because I am still maybe naive enough to believe that citizens can have an impact on their government. And we are having some success in getting people engaged in the process. As of Monday, we had generated about 3,000 calls to our members of Congress over the last 3 weeks or so. And we're starting to hear back from our members of Congress that it's having an impact, that they're at least beginning to understand that these types of proposals that they're talking about have consequences. Now, it didn't help in the vote last night on the cut cap and ballot.